Hey guys, I wanted to show you my cucumbers. Aren't they beautiful? These are the cucumbers I planted down in Mexico, or some of them, and they're doing fairly good. This one was getting pretty beat up by the sun, so I brought it inside, and some of the flowers, or the leaves, they're just not going to come back, and they've got a little burning down at the end, so I went ahead and clipped them off. Yes, you can trim squash and cucumber plants, as well as tomatoes and tomatillos and plants like that. Don't be afraid to trim if you need to. All right, so let's talk about male and female flowers today and fruit set on your fruit plant. Cucumbers are a fruit, squash is a fruit, anything with a seed inside of it or on it, like a strawberry, is a fruit, even though we don't think of it as a fruit. However, they are fruits. So what happens is these plants will start growing, right? It's like this. You'll see an ice cream plant. At the end or along the stem, a flower will form. If that flower has a little tiny fruit at the base of it, then it is a female. If it doesn't have a flower at the base of it, like this one, a fruit at the base of it, like this one, then it is a male. The male flowers usually bloom a week to 10 days or more ahead of the females. If they bloom and they notice pollination activity, like little bees coming around and poking around in there, then they'll say to the female flowers, hey, go ahead and start growing your little fruits, and we will get pollinated by the little bees or whatever that's flying around. So if you see a lot of male flowers on your plant but no females, either one of a couple things have happened. Either it's too early, and if the plant is just begun to flower, it is just too early. You just need to be patient and wait. Or if you have a ton of flowers, especially dead ones, and no fruit setting, then you'll know it's because there's no pollination activity, and you need to either draw the pollinator into the area, like draw bees with water or something like that, or pollinate by hand. And we'll pollinate some by hand in a future video. I like to do that in the morning, and it's just too late in the day right now. So you'll notice that some of my cucumbers here are dying. And that is because the fruit set, the flower bloomed, but no pollinator went to the male flower to get pollen to pollinate the flower, right? It didn't cross-pollinate, so it just died. And that, again, is because I don't have very many bees in this area. But I did pollinate this by hand, and then there's one back here, a little bigger one I pollinated by hand. So I think that's just what I'm going to need to do, is do some hand pollination, because I've got another dead one down here, and I just don't want that to happen. I really want to get some fruit, some cucumbers, before I leave. So that is the difference between the male and the female flowers. Male flowers come out earlier. If they get pollinated, they'll tell the females to go ahead and start growing and blooming, and then they get pollinated and your fruit grows and it sets. If it starts to die off, you got a lot of dead fruit, you don't have enough pollinators. If you only have a bunch of male flowers, like all of these are male flowers, then you don't have enough pollinators in the area. I mean, look how important bees are to the planet, right? But you can, of course, pollinate by hand, so we'll go ahead and talk about that. And yeah, so far so good. I'm pretty happy with these growing down here. The radishes did really well as well, and the tomatoes are rocking it. But I got no onions; they died, and the spinach pretty much. I have one plant, and it's just started. It pretty much died off. Interestingly enough, we went to the grocery store. I found a potato, a small little potato, outside the grocery store. Brought it home, planted it, and it's growing. So anyway, I'll have to find a family for my plants. But I'm having to kind of rotate them around into the shade to keep them alive. But so take a look at your fruit when they start blooming, and make sure that you've got little baby fruits and flowers, and just keep an eye on them. And if you see any of these dead ones, it's because it didn't get pollinated. So try to draw some pollinators into your area. Flower with beautiful flowers that they like. You can just ask Mr. Google about that, and watering containers so they can come and get a sip of water, make them want to come to your area. Anyway, that's it for today, and in the next video we'll do some hand pollination, and I'm just going to go ahead and take off the dead flowers on this plant and see if I need to do any more trimming. And yeah, so that's it. Let me know if you have any questions.